This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. And guys, we are back after a long time. We couldn't record an episode for academic reasons. So now we'll be resuming the episode with Nihar today. And we promise that we will be posting the content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest my friend who I've known since school, Nihar Dighe. Hi Nihar, how are you?
Hi Manan, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Pretty good. So it's great catching up with you after such a long time. And today's episode is going to be a mix of a lot of things that we'll be discovering about you today.
So yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Great. So, Nihar, currently you are pursuing your MBA, but before that you have pursued your engineering from ICT, which is the most well-known or the most famous college for chemical engineering in Mumbai. So, tell me about your journey of being a chemical engineer and your, how much fun you had while you were in college.
So basically, on paper, I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm a B.Tech. So I'm a B.Tech in polymers engineering and tech. So that's, you can call it a part of chemical engineering, maybe a niche form of chemical engineering, but it's a bit different. So historically speaking, all these B.Tech courses at ICT were made for all these budding entrepreneurs at that particular time. So for example, Pidlite, the owner of Pidlite is also our alum. Then you take any other chemical industry also from India, Aarti Industries, for example, even they are our alum. Even UPL, even they are our alum only. So basically, these people at that particular time, these courses were pretty niche. So ICT in fact started its first course in textiles, I guess, and it was the first course in textiles in our country. And that is how it started. And then chemical engineering came, and chemical engineering is more towards the operation aspect of it, like plant wala part and all that. So even that is a bit different, but mine comes more to the tech aspect of it, like the plastic around us, how is it made, what is it made up of, how can you make it more sustainable, and all these things were covered up. So ICT was pretty fun. So it was not only acads, it was everything. And you can call it like from organizing certain festivals and events to interacting with some of the like amazing people out there and creating more and more memories. So that has been a constant since school days. So that's one thing I'm lucky about. And yeah, that's it.
That's nice. So, Nia, just a little bit addition to this. You mentioned all these famous players of the adhesive industry. You forgot one biggest player of India, that Mukesh Ambani is also your alumni.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Probably my Geo will stop working for 2 days. So basically, yeah, but one key difference, there is nothing to take away from it. But the thing is, like, if I'm not wrong, by then Dhruv had already established like the brand as such, and not taking away from him anything, because he is someone who has diversified the business like to many different arenas. And the names which are taken are strictly very the ones who started from scratch, build their chemical brands in our country. And if you do a quick Google search also, top 5, top 6 chemical companies, specialty chemical companies, you will find 5, 6 names. And out of them, 3, 4, like 75 to 80% of these companies are ones who are having an alum base from my institute. Moreover, right now also the people who are in the board of directors or decision making roles, at least the technical part, the CTOs and all that. So they actually are, if they are from chemical background, you will find people from Institute of Chemical Technology, or UDCT as it was earlier known as. So it is a pretty decent place for research and
all. Just yesterday, I was having a talk with my brother that tomorrow we'll be having Nihar, who I've known since school. And I told him he went to a great college that is well known in Mumbai. If I'm not wrong, India as well, all over India
India.
for its chemical
Yeah.
engineering. And he asked me what is great about it. I mean, as much as knowledge I had, I imparted it. I told him that Mukesh Ambani was also the alumni of the same college. But you have to given us more examples of why your college is so prestigious in the at all India level. And that's great, man. You completed this BTech from in chemical engineering from such a great college. And later, Nihar, it is a very common scenario that engineers move on to their management, uh, pursue their management course, that is MBA, after completing their engineers. And what is the reason that engineers choose MBA as as a go-to option? Like, what is the reason that is not known to the outsiders, but we just observe it कि अच्छा engineer है तो मतलब MBA है ही है. तो ये assumption कहाँ से आता है कि what is the thought inside the engineers?
So probably I can't talk about all engineers here. Maybe I might talk more about myself, like why I chose that path. So basically, maybe most of us have that bug of management inside us. Like वो होता है कीड़ा है कि we like to manage things, we like to manage people and all that. And with time we discover the right motivation we have in our life also, right? So initially when we do engineering, like the time where we decide that we have to take engineering as a career path, that is like we are hardly 18. So I remember our engineer for a normal engineer, his or her first year will be when he or she turns 18 or is about to turn 18 years of age. So just into adulthood. So that is a point wherein you get influenced by the surrounding people, also the environment wherein you have grown up. So normally it's like, yeah, you are good at studies, you take up science. Then we realize after we decide to go for MBA, we decide that arts lena chahiye tha, acha hota, or we should have taken commerce, it would have helped us a lot. Because being an engineer and going for MBA is like totally very, very, very difficult. Your cutoffs are high. Then again, there are batch size has certain elements of diversity. So engineers are not considered in the diversity aspect. So they are like excluded. So these things, if you would have known, so I tell my parents a lot, like pehle pata hota to I would have gone for arts only because arts is a lot to learn. And honestly speaking, arts ke subjects are also not like they are not interesting as such. And so coming back to the engineering aspect, so once you enter an engineering college, so the best part of it, like who are your people with whom you're interacting. So my peers, basically my peer group, the one which I'm closest to, everybody is an MBA right now or is pursuing MBA. And only one of us is, only one of us, he is going out for UPSC right now. So he's preparing for that in Delhi. So, you see the environment which I was there at. So most of them in our final year, third year end to final year, they're preparing for MBA. And by that moment, even I was managing certain events and colleges. So I managed one of the largest student organized marathons. I was one of the organizers then. So you have to do everything from the scratch. So there were a group of 8-9 people and we did everything. And we hosted almost 5,000 people, runners. So that was a huge thing for us at that particular moment. And certain elements like these, they actually force you to think like maybe this is the thing, right? You are good at it, then why not go ahead for pursue a career out of it? Exactly. So at that moment in my third year, I decided that at the beginning itself that I decided I'll go for MBA, but I'll go after certain years of work ex. And during these 2 years, third year and fourth year, most of my friends pursued or started beginning to prepare, the various aspects of entrance exam. And that is where, that influence grew more and more. Plus my peer group, again, earlier we had a couple of people who were planning for UPSC. One of them now has decided to go for, again, management related course abroad. So, that kind of peer group, that the interactions are kind of very different at times.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what term did you use for abroad? What course?
Management related course. So basically he has So it's an industrial management related course. I'm not sure about the details as such, the name and all, but the crux of it is like it's an IEM ऐसा type of course बोलते हैं. So it's basically related to industrial management and operation management. But that's the point. Like we had a peer group which was either into like last 2 years of MBA. These people were studying, and I was the only one who was very free. So that was the only difference. So that's why I had this influence like how to begin, and also I never struggled to ask. I always have people to talk to, like how to go about it. And maybe most of us, we realized very honestly after engineering right now you don't get the kind of packages as you used to get 10-15 years back.
Okay.
So analogy wise I tell you very honestly, like 10 to 15 years back आज जो MBA है वो पहले engineering था. So there was a moment wherein every graduate used to go out, especially the science graduates used to go out for engineering, because the kind of opportunities you got after engineering were too good. Now industry has been saturated by all engineers, all types of engineers. You take a walk in Mumbai or anywhere, wherever you stay in India, you take a walk, you'll find at least one engineering college. And right now I mentioned you some time back we were talking about the turf, right? So the turf is also near an engineering college, which is a recent one. So you see the frequency, and earlier, like maybe 10-15 years back, you couldn't find engineering colleges everywhere around. There were only few colleges, and the select few ones were known for quality level education. Abhi quantity high hai, quality plus minus hote rehta. So that's the point. Now you see after 5-6 years you will have another Nihar type person in your blog. That person will be engineer plus MBA plus something else only, because then he'll tell you now MBA has become so common, I had to take another thing just to make myself stand out in front of the people with opportunities or recruiters or whatever.
I can certainly see that, and the combination that the future is holding for us for this type of field is that a person will have done his engineering plus MBA from the college that is offering the course. Then he must have completed 1 or 2 levels of CFA, and he must also be going to abroad for masters, and then after he'll work there, and then after some work gigs he'll come back to India, appear for CFA level 3, and then that is the ideal combination that I am also foreseeing, seeing my peers as well. But Nihar, this one thing that I have wanted to ask you, that you said that looking at the scenario of the science background people pursuing an MBA is so high that it is nearly impossible to get into a very good MBA college. And you also spoke that agar bachpan se hi science mein अच्छे थे, so it was implied that engineering ही लेना है. So when you were in that phase that क्या कौन सा stream लेना है, did you have that pressure कि नहीं अभी तो भाई 10th और 12th में मैंने 90+ score किया है, तो अभी तो मैं engineering ही लूंगा? Or did you at any point of time think that ठीक है 90% आ गया, problem नहीं है, but arts भी मैं ले लूंगा?
अरे this guy is rubbing salt on my wounds. I never got 90+ in 10th or 12th यार. Okay. But on a serious note, no, there was no pressure, especially from my parents. So my parents were always like, "हाँ, तो वो जो करना है कर." And that's why I never I cannot, even if I want to go to them and I can't complain, अरे आपने बोला था इसीलिए मैं आज engineer, nothing like that. I always wanted to be one, and that's the stage, at that particular moment. What I will say is like people like me, or right now there are so many people at that age who do not have the awareness of different options available to them. Like for example, if you're good at science, doesn't mean that you have to take your specialization for the specialization in science only. And ऐसा भी नहीं है कि अभी आर्ट्स वालों को पैसा मिलता नहीं है. तो earlier there was this misconception that arts maybe they do not get paid very well.
Very well.
So you have to take something like commerce or the niche fields like engineering, where you get a good job and you start settling. But the biggest joke over here is nobody settles at the age of 23, right? Everybody wants to do something more, some form of master's, some form of, like, people at ICT are known for their PhD courses, so it's known for research. So they spend another 4-5 years abroad or anywhere else. When they get a better research opportunity, they go there, they pursue their research. So almost right now, if you see on an average 25 to 26 stuck, everybody is pursuing further studies, or they're going for some form of specialization, and then they go out for the right job, right? So that's, or any form of thing. Maybe they might go for entrepreneurship as well. So that's the thing. So that time nobody knew, and it's not only about the parents. Maybe it was everywhere around that environment. Like nobody knew कि exactly करना क्यों चाहिए, करते क्या. Like if you would have asked me at 2013, the day we passed 10th, if you would have asked me, bro, MBA करना है क्या? I would have been like, I don't know, man. I don't think so. What is an MBA? पहले बता मुझे होता क्या है. So that is a level of awareness. But right now, because of hundred of factors, kids are aware of so many things, and even people, by the time they are taking any decision, they know, yeah. So if I want to get it, I am Ahmedabad, I have to get 90 plus both 10th and 12th. So I'll make sure I get decent. I won't top, but at least I'll get decent score, 90 plus, 90 plus. Or maybe in UG, I'll maintain that GPA of 9 plus. That might help. I might have a profile of 9 plus 999. So this is the profile for MBA candidates. Is a very famous number, 999. So you have to have 90 plus 10, 90 plus boards, 12 boards plus 9 plus GPA in your UG. So then these people might plan accordingly. For us, I was like, पहला 4 साल मेरे को बकचोदी करना है UG में. Next 4 years, I decided, okay, some interesting subjects I'll study. So I got my pointer back to above average, and then I was like, I'm happy. I'll get a job. I'll work for 2 years. And exactly at the end of 2 years, I left my job and went for MBA. So it was like planned to that particular moment. कि तो इतना ही करना है और नहीं करना. That was for me.
This is quite a sincere thing that you might have heard कि इतना भी like 5 साल आगे का कौन देख सकता है कि इतना future plan करके क्या मतलब. You must have heard कि 5-10 साल का क्या. But I think the planning is always needed, at least to some aspect, as to where you are moving, and not just कि नहीं भाई we'll be living the day only for today, right? It is said that if you do not plan for tomorrow, the biggest enemy will be your tomorrow. The same thing.
True. And if not long term, at least you can go for short term planning. Matlab, don't go for 10 years, at least plan for next 10 months. That can help. And I'm not saying that your plan will be exactly, it will be executed exactly to T and something like that. Variations will come, changes will happen, but that's the part of life, right? Like, that's the fun part actually. If everything happens according to the plan, तो boring robot ही हो जाएंगे हम तो.
Correct. And yeah, this another thing that you said, that the back then the engineering market was growing and people would get decent packages as well when they graduated from engineering college, but now it is saturated. Another thing that I see over here is the inflation of marks. I don't know if you must have heard this term or not, but what inflation of mark is, it is the same as inflation but for marks. Now if you remember, when we passed out our 10th grade, it was really difficult to score a 90%, right? But at the same time, if you go to the 2015 or 16 wala batch, the number of people who had scored 90 was just enormous. It's just like 50-60% of the class has scored already 90%. So that inflation is also affecting the admission. कि अरे पहले 5 लोग 90 लाते थे, अभी तो भाई 50 लोग ला रहे हैं, तो हम ले किसको कॉलेज में?
Maybe, but moreover, it's like inflation in the number of aspirants from engineering background. See, it makes sense, like, right? If you're doing masters in business administration, like ideally, I'll give you another example. If you want to, if you're an engineer, BTech, MTech के लिए BTech वाला जाता है, वो sense बनाता है, right? Ideally on paper, like if tomorrow you from commerce background, you are going for MTech, तो अरे यार कुछ तो अलग है, मतलब make sense, you are like the diverse angle of it, जल्दी का ले लो. But अभी सोच ले MBA में maximum aspirants or applicants, all these people are engineers only. The people who are supposed to, like, these are the diverse factor, like they were supposed to bring in diversity. Now these are the people who are there in majority right now. So obviously you have to make sure that you have to, have certain checks wherein the batch size remains diverse. And when I'm saying diverse, I'm not just saying it's about various backgrounds of education. It's also about age or work experience based diversity as well. And if you see, most of us, and that's the fact, the reason why we have the 99 point flana jinkana cutoffs for engineers is that they do not want engineers in the batch, many engineers in the batch, but still you will have many engineers in the batch. That's the point, because it's like we engineers we have fucked up mindsets. We are like, yeah, we are challenged, we'll go ahead. हमको 99.99 बोला, next year we'll get 99.99, and then there are people who do that. Yeah, you can't stop them, right? कितने रोकोगे? बोला हाँ चल, उसके बाद you might ask them difficult questions in the interview. They prepare for that also. Then they get into the college, and at the end of the day, even in my batch, majority of us are engineers only. 30-35% people engineers, because that's it. And if you go to any premier B school right now in India, you will see that these people are engineers only, majority of us. And that's the point. I guess more than maybe inflation of marks could be a thing. Maybe it might make it easier for them, to have those 9 profiles. But at the end of the day, bro, this is what I have seen. Okay, like if we look at our past, we are like, "Arey, 10 to easy tha, we could have done it." Now, if I see JEE, I will like, I can solve sums right now, easy tha. If you ask me about CAT, which I had given almost couple of years back, Arey, बहुत easy paper होता है, मैं अभी solve करूँगा. But when you are at that moment, then you have other factors like pressure and all. So that's why our performance might, it depends on that particular moment rather than the knowledge aspect or, ease of it. So I guess it's okay. We are happy with our marks. We are happy where we are. Like, forget it.
That makes sense. Also, that obviously the premium institutes hasn't, diversified in the courses of MBA that they offer, that they're still sticking to the standard finance, marketing, and all those stuff. If you look at the private universities, I don't know if you have heard of this, but there is a college that is offering an MBA in law just for law students to pursue.
Nice.
And that course is not even a decade old, not even half a decade old, if I'm not wrong. I know it is half a decade old, and it was started in 2016 or 17, around that. So the private universities to cope with the amount of supply of students that want to pursue MBA, they are diversifying the courses for MBA as well. Now, if I'm not wrong, if this is the current trend where they are offering MBA in law as well, there will come a time when they will be offering MBA in chemical engineering as well. Few years out there, कि जहाँ पे सिर्फ chemical engineers वाले students जाके MBA पढ़े.
अरे है अभी भी. I told you about the course, right? That industrial engineering is nothing but kind of industrial engineering management. Sorry, it's kind of an MBA course for engineers only, because you go for a master's, you study like the operation supply part of it for a couple of years, and then you switch to a management role. But then most of us, we have this bug. I told you ना, कीड़ा है हम लोग में कि हमको तो सीधा CEO बनना है, हमको नहीं करना operations पहले. We want to do fin stuff. Now look at me, I've become a fin enthu right now. If you look at my past, fin का FB कभी नहीं किया मैंने.
Correct.
But अभी है. So right, that's it. And yeah,
I was coming to that only. That to see that to take a keen interest in finance. That was my next question. That what was the moment? Yeah, was there an incident that struck you कि नहीं भाई कि अभी finance में interest लेना है because वो ज़्यादा important हो गया है, वो chemical engineering थोड़ा side में रखो, MBA finance पढ़ो. What was that moment that made you realize कि I want to do an MBA in finance only?
This particular thing is like we should have been taught since childhood that finance is the most important aspect of it. पैसा कमाना किसको पसंद नहीं है? मतलब मुझे एक जन आके बोलेगा कि अरे no bro, I don't like earning money. He's a filthy rich guy. That's what he's saying, bro. There is no other reason, right? And secondly, coming back to me, so it was pretty gradual, and I didn't realize that because earlier, if I'm not wrong, again I told you, right, my peer group was more into this UPSC stuff and all that. So we used to have these discussions. Repo rate ये हो गया. Then I never knew what is repo rate. So I would go back home, Google करके, because you have to be part of these discussions, right? तो थोड़ा वो FOMO होता है, fear of missing out. कि अरे दोस्त लोग बात कर रहे हैं, समझ नहीं रहा क्या बात कर रहे हैं. तुम कितना ही.
That's a good FOMO.
That's a good FOMO, right?
Output आ रहा है उसमें.
Exactly. I should try changing the topics. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about football, guys. Let's be cool. But then at the end of the day, I'm not saying that these were geeks or nerds, like they will talk only about these things every day. But once a week, as a randomly, we used to sit and final year is very chill in engineering. So we used to have these sessions because we used to have certain. I guess that time India was very politically active also 2019. So we used to have those discussions also then. So these things. One day I struck across the concept of stocks and all, but I was never interested. Every time I have come across the concept of stocks, I used to be like, क्या है ये broker लोग का काम है, stocks which अपना काम नहीं है. So this is like what a middle class template teachers use, like investment है क्या, FDRD, खत्म.
FDRD, right?
Nothing more, nothing else. हाँ, FDRD safe as hell. Stocks is not for us. Stocks is gambling. This is what I was told. I had heard around from people around me, and then I'm very inquisitive when it comes to such things. And by that time, I had got a job also. I had money. I had my own money. So I had this concept. So if I am spending 600 rupees on McDonald's, so कुछ भी होगा तो हो जाता है. I can do 600 rupees का stocks, and even if I lose it, it's like I just think that McDonald's में पैसा डाला था. And for that, I should start reading. Let's read stocks related stuff. Let's read some books. And then let's start investing also. Like there will be a world, right? Beyond FDs and RDs, because pretty sure 3% return पे कोई अंबानी नहीं बनता. कुछ तो करते होंगे ये लोग. So I started reading more and more. And then I started investing myself. And then that's how gradually portfolio वगैरह बना. And then I realized कि ऐसे करते हैं, investment strategies कैसे बनाते हैं, and what is an investment logic. How to look for a company on that. So back of my mind, if you see, indirectly, I was actually into the world of finance, not very directly, because even that point of time, I was like, no, I should go more into consulting right now, because I'm from a tech background, and most of the tech engineers become consultants because we have that industry experience also. We have that technological niche also. Plus, I always had this thing. I'm from a niche background, and it's not a very niche background also. आजू बाजू देखो प्लास्टिक से पॉलीमर्स है, प्लास्टिक से हर जगह. So you can always use this expertise in wherever I go ahead. So I can always try to be a consultant. So I had this thing in mind. So once I entered, I got my first heartbreak in B school कि मेरे को जाना था एक कंपनी में, उसने मेरे को ये नहीं दिया. They had this work ex criteria of 3+ years. I never got in because I had a 2 years का work ex. And then with time, we had this thing because the first 3 months of B school are like very much oriented to get an SIP, which is a summer internship program. Okay. Achha. So 3 months you work very hard because your life can actually, that is a make or break period. You land up a very good company, then probably you have a very good chance of, getting a job in the same company and all that. So that's a different thing. But in those 3 months, we were always told that don't keep yourself only to one particular field, Always have a backup plan, which is also fair enough. You should have a backup plan, right? And that moment I realized कि backup क्या है, consulting की सोचा, दिन रात वही सोचता था, क्या ही करूँ मैं. And then I was कि there is an aspect of finance I know, right? Let's bank on that. And then I started reading more about other stuff, and then I realized कि I guess consulting is okay, but finance is more interesting right now. और मुझे ये अच्छा लग रहा है. That is where I decided कि अभी all out जाना.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I could see the transition not with the talks that I had with you, but through Instagram stories or WhatsApp stories, because every time you completed reading a finance related book or a consulting related book, you would post a picture that completed this book. And I don't know if you would believe this or not, but every time that you posted, a few times I've also taken the screenshot of your story and kept it in my folder कि अच्छा नहीं ये book पढ़ना है, because that is how you also grow, right? Because ठीक है, there is always that thing कि अच्छा इसने पढ़ा है तो कुछ भाई legit ही होगा, because as far as I know, you don't waste your time on such frivolous things कि नहीं मेरे को बस खाली मजे के लिए पढ़ना है. No, there is a thing कि नहीं, there has to be a certain output कि मैं अगर ये पढ़ रहा हूँ तो I get to learn from it. So I also have, if I recall correctly, there was this book about the ways of McKinsey. I mean the title
the McKinsey way.
हाँ McKinsey way, yeah McKinsey way. So उसका screenshot मेरे पास पड़ा है. Then there is this other book which was of Warren Buffett, not the Intelligent Investor, but it was something else which had Warren Buffett.
The Buffett's way, I guess that's the name. I forgot the name.
Yeah, so that book also I've taken a screenshot and I have it with me in my phone. So I could see the transition from your stories, but today I get to know that why that transition had taken place. Yeah, but it's a good that it's good that you know adapted to the new ways as well, because if you would have stuck to, you know, what was your thought that agar consulting पे ही अटका रहा तो you would have been like quite unidimensional के नहीं consulting के related चीजें the growth is
So
quite good.
yeah, maybe. But the catch point here is consultant never does a unidirectional work. So that was my go-to funda. I always ask myself, what am I good at? And I was always someone who was like jack of all trades, master of none. And I always enjoyed being that. मतलब कहाँ भी जाए, you can gel up very easily. Why to, you know, specialize in certain thing and then restrict yourself, because after 10-15 years that specialization will go away. So I was always like that. Yeah, that's why I was like, consultant banna, I guess I will fit much better there. But again, if you see now and macroscopic view mein, maybe finance looks very unidirectional, but if you are a guy of finance, you know, if you look deep down, even it is evolving every day. And that is one place wherein it has to evolve, because if markets evolve, then finance will evolve.
Finance will evolve,
Crypto aane wala tha, kisko pata tha? For example, like certain things happen, right? So I thought, like, at the end of the day, like whatever decision I made to switch, it actually suited me, and that's why I'm very happy right now. Whatever is happening, it's going good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Also, when you talk about specialization, so there is this quote by Naval Ravikant. It says that specialization is for the insects. It is the era of deep generalist where everyone should have an idea of every aspect what is going around them, and not just one aspect. इन्हें अगर मैं engineering हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ chemical के related चीजें ही पढ़ूंगा.
Actually, यार मतलब if I would have been someone like him, that insect basically, then I would have been here talking as, say, masters in polymers engineering maybe. But I'm not taking away from people who are interested in research also. The thing is, like, I have certain colleagues who stuck to research to such a level. I told you, right, for 4-5 years they have decided that they spend their 4-5 years in research only, and they are doing some exceptional things over there, and not only in US but in Europe also. So if you have your aptitude in research, go for research. ICT is the best place for research in the country right now, because people from IIT and also come for ICT for you know, projects and working with professors, because they have too many citations, they have too many publications, like a very good research environment. But again, like as you mentioned, if you try to come out of your safe zone, or you try to come out of the myopic view, and you start, you know, dwelling into other things also, you might realize that, you know, you're made for something else and you're suitable for something much better according to your needs. Something, if I would have done, say, in 2013, maybe I would have taken commerce, because if I'm liking finance now, there is a high chance that maybe I had that aptitude, you know, 7-8 years back also. So yeah, you never know, right? So I would have taken commerce. Or on the other hand, basically, I also like reading about you know, literature and all that. I might have taken arts. Who knows? Or there are other fields also. I'm taking these 3 names only because these 3 are very well known. There are so many other fields. Like I came to know about, like, people come up with undergraduate in life sciences. Then there are these are again science related or STEM related fields. Sorry, because I've been in that field for so like 4 years of my life. So दिमाग में वही example आता है.
Yeah.
Or there are like institutes, like statistics related institutes in our country. So they go for you know, a specialization, or you know, undergraduate in statistics or mathematics. So these are different fields, and that is the exact point over here. Like if you actually go out and look out for other things, you might find that you are suitable somewhere else. तो वही होता है.
Nihar, another interesting question that just popped in my head right now is when there was this the moment that the government had banned plastic, was there a sense of insecurity के अरे अभी तो मेन जो बिजनेस है जो केमिकल इंजीनियर्स के लिए, यू नो, काम का, वही उन लोगों ने अगर बैन कर दिया तो should I change to, you know, because second year of engineering के बाद you are allowed to change your stream, right?
So So yeah, you are allowed. After, if in fact at ICT, if I'm not wrong, you can at the end of first year, I guess, because first year is pretty common.
Okay.
Yeah, from second year onwards, you get the specialization subjects one by one. So those specialization subjects. So for example, if I'm a polymers guy, then my polymers related subjects will start from second year, and they will span for next 3 years. And it will like start from generalized way of teaching to specialized way of teaching by the end of fourth year. So, and I'm not pretty sure like when I was at ICT, I don't think so we had a chance to change. But yeah, there are people who, you know, at the end of first year they switch, so that they can do by giving the exam again and all that. So yeah.
Again, continuing on that question, so was there a sense of insecurity in the के अगर प्लास्टिक ही बैन कर दिया? Obviously now there are other aspects of engineering as well कि वो फेविकॉल बनाना है या वो सब चीजें, but plastic takes up like a huge chunk of the industry. So was there that sense कि अरे अभी chemical engineering करके अभी कुछ चेंज करना पड़ेगा या ये अभी फ्यूचर में इतना काम का नहीं रहेगा?
अरे you yourself look everywhere around you. Plastics are banned, right? But again, the catch is plastics with certain density and certain thickness are banned. Not every plastic is banned. तुम हर plastic ban ही नहीं कर सकते. So you look at like the laptop you're using right now, correct? उसमें plastics नहीं है क्या? So that's the point. So plastic industry is never gonna die because you have moved from paper to plastic. You won't go back to paper again. Paper तुम कितना trees काटोगे? That is the question, right? Again. Now, to coming back to the second aspect, the environmental aspect of plastic. So this entire banning aspect and the environment related awareness in the world right now, that has given out new opportunities. Now they are looking out to make plastics from newer carbon. So basically plastics, I go to a bit tech aspect of it. So plastics come from fossil fuels, right? So जो अपना तेल वेल निकलता है वहां से crude से बनता है plastics अपना. But right now, what these guys are looking out, the scientists are working out for newer carbon. So basically, कोई भी plant उठा ले right now, उसके carbon से I can make plastic right now. So they are working on that. Thirdly, the kind of misuse, or in fact, moreover, not even misuse, the way we have mistreated nature, like for past 100 years or more. Like since the advent of industrial revolution, we have been using coal and all that, plastics also, and we have dumped all that plastic in oceans and soil everywhere. कहाँ पे degrade तो होता नहीं है. So that is another opportunity. So you kind of take out that plastic, which is very challenging. You take out that plastic, you make it reusable or recyclable. And the most notorious plastics or the polymers right now are basically thermocol. For example, styrofoam, foams. You use it for packaging of every electronic. And if you see, after ban also, these things weren't banned because you have to transport television sets, you have to transport a mobile phone, right? So वहाँ से foam तो निकालेगा नहीं. Right. So what they did was the Amazon and all, they should take back the packaging foams again. They should reuse it for further purposes so that it doesn't create waste. And these things are like 80 to 90% air, hawa. That's why they are very light. So if you start recycling, and recycling is very expensive. तो हवा को recycle तो करेगा नहीं. So that's why recycling is possible, but it's so expensive and it's non-sustainable that nobody wants to invest money in that. So these are avenues which are new because of the ban. And the other aspect is plastics are always there, were always there, will always be there. So you have to adapt, and that is the concept of anyone, right? Like any industry also, that you have to adapt to the needs. In fact, there was I guess it was Madrid. Madrid had recycled plastic and made jerseys in 2016. So that time, and this is a very booming industry also, because in China, lot of plastic content is there which goes for recycling. They create yarns out of it, polyester yarns, recycled polyester yarns, and they send it back to people who basically are into apparel industry. And even this Madrid had kind of advertised their jersey that into 2016 only, if I'm not wrong. So that was totally recycled plastic jerseys they had won.
Wow.
So yeah. So in fact, our jersey is also nylon, right? Nylon with a polymer.
Oh, okay. Right.
So yeah, people are adopting. You look at me, everything I'm wearing is kind of Except me,
Plastic.
everything is plastic.
Yeah, that's true, right? So wouldn't, as you said that, thermocol was something that, was the most notorious of all, if of all. So the bubble wrap that people, but that bubble wrap is also plastic, right? So uh, that's
Even
nice.
in fact, all these packaging materials. So I'll tell you, there is a separate subject when it comes to polymers, that is packaging materials. So you take a biscuit packet, you see that inside it's a silvery thing, right? So most of the cases aluminium layer, okay. उसके ऊपर का पार्ट जो होता है जैसे नॉर्मल प्लास्टिक, राइट? So now imagine while making how they would have made it. So basically these are layered packaging technique they are using. So these are 3 or 4 different layers of different plastics and different materials come together. Now imagine you have to recycle these things. How will you recycle them? 4 things which have come together. First you have to separate these 4 layers, which is next to impossible. Getting the point? So these things become very, very, very expensive, very difficult, and cost effective nahi hota. So mostly these people, the companies, they do not invest much into the recycling aspect of it because they don't get returns out of it. And any business where you don't get returns, you actually don't start spending. So that's the key.
So it is always going to be around, but probably in different microns, I would say. That is the right term, right? The microns.
Hey bro, you are eating plastic. Everyone consumes plastic in some way or another. So as I'll give you 2 examples. First example is people who consume salt. So whenever the amount of plastics we have dumped inside the oceans, so there is one kind wherein the microfilaments bolte usko. So imagine it's nothing but like a thread from your cloth. उसका माइक्रोस्कोपिक लेवल क्लॉथ का ही थ्रेड्स, द नायलॉन का थ्रेड पकड़ ले, एनी पॉलीमर और प्लास्टिक का थ्रेड्स बन के इट गोज इनटू द ओशन, राइट? और द माइक्रोफिलामेंट्स व्हिच आर प्रेजेंट इनसाइड ऑफ फेस वॉशेस, और फेस वॉश इज द राइट एग्जांपल. So they have these bead like structures and these micro beads, they actually enter the ocean. Plastic ही होता था. अभी तो in fact I have heard that these FMCG firms have stopped making such face washes and such products. But what about the time which we have already used? So they are into the ocean. So when you kind of remove, like make salt from these salt pans, so these microfilaments, these microplastics actually come in your salt. So there was a survey done in USA, like amount of plastics which is present in your body through salt. And they found out that almost 40-50%, I'm not exactly aware of the numbers as of now, I've completely forgotten the survey numbers, but a decent number of people actually had plastics in their body. So right now, if you and I test ourselves, we will find plastics in our bodies. And these are, I'm talking only about the vegetarian plus non-vegetarian combo, because salt to sabhi khate hain. What about the non-vegetarian people who actually consume fish? Fish actually plastic, man. मतलब उनके पेट में होता ही है. That's why I have this bias now against fish. I have stopped eating fish altogether. Let's stop over here. But but that's the point, like we are a part of the system now. Even we have plastics now. We have 2 options. One, we wait and we die in next, say, 100 years, 200 years as a species, or we actually start working on it. And we don't have much time. There's a reason we have a limit till 2030, right? If we are able to stop till then, control till then only it will be controlled, or else everything will be out of control, especially the climate change, temperature rise.
So do you think at the end of the day, everybody is going to turn vegan? Because like अगर किसी को fish में तो already है, so obviously non-vegetarian people will turn to being a vegetarian. But at the end of the day, being vegetarian also, वो जो पानी डालते हैं, right, for crops पे, that also has some amount of the thing in it. So is vegan the only option left for us?
I don't think so, because even veganism should be firstly affordable by everyone, right? Veganism says you can't drink cow's milk, you can't drink normal whatever dairy products we are having. They say you go and have almond milk. They say you have soy milk. अरे उसका प्राइस देखो इंडिया में, वो तो मतलब छप्पर फाड़ कुछ भी बेचते हैं वो लोग. Moreover,
Right.
veganism is firstly, it's a kind of a, as of now, it's a privilege because, and the other aspect is lack of awareness also. But again, I don't think so. People might change their, eating preferences based on only maybe an environmental perspective for that matter, because these things have been there since a long time. Awareness has been there since a long time. Still, people haven't changed, right? Like I stopped eating fish not because वेरी ऑनेस्टली मैं ऐसा एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट नहीं हूँ कि भाई अरे प्लास्टिक फिश को बचाना है, ऐसा नहीं है. चिकन तो खाता ही हूँ ना. दैट्स द डिफरेंस. एंड मोर ओवर देयर इज एन एस्टैब्लिश्ड इंडस्ट्री आउट हियर. वो पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग का पूरा इंडस्ट्री बन चुका है. एंड फॉर वीगन्स आल्सो दे आर मेकिंग दिस वेजिटेरियन मीट राइट नाउ which tastes like chicken and all that, but it is pure veg. That's a different marketing gimmick you can, and it is. Yeah.
I had a similar experience here. So I was at Papa John's one day, and there was a, I mean, I don't know what is the right term for that, but they had put up a pamphlet, I could say, which said that vegetarian meat, no, vegan meat, yeah, vegan meat, vegan chicken or vegan
meat.
Yeah, that was the thing. So I asked the lady at the counter, okay, what is this vegan meat? So like, it is the chicken for vegetarian people. And I'm like, no, this does not sound right. And I found it a bit fishy to try it, but nahi, wo nahi kiya hi nahi. That does not add up.
Arey bro, wait for 4 years or 3 years max. Arey, this thing is going to become normal, and almost every meat processing or any meat producing company or related company is dwelling into this space because they want to tap to untapped market now. And at the end of the day, I guess there was this Netflix documentary called Game Changers. I don't remember. Yeah, this was the name. They propagated a veganism. मैं बना था vegan 3 महीने के लिए, but then I couldn't control myself beyond that, so I had to switch. And so they said that you become vegan, your entire body performance enhances, you feel fresh and all that. Maybe it was psychological. For 3 months I did feel better, and I was like, अरे मैं ज़्यादा भाग पा रहा हूँ फुटबॉल में, अरे this is something is happening. So I go for running and all that. So I was like, I'm running more. Maybe it's because of vegan food. Or maybe it was completely psychological. So I don't know the difference.
I can understand this aspect.
Yeah, right.
You know, whenever something new has been marketed to a person, right, and that person has tried it, that psychological self-convincing is always there. Key, even the slightest of the change, which would have been a regular thing, okay, or which could have been a progress that the person has made, but अगर वो चीज डाल दी कि अच्छा because of veganism you are able to run fast, तो 2 दिन में तो खुद को convince भी करने लगेगा, अरे this is because of veganism.
I know, right?
ये होता है that thing is.
अरे seriously, and I don't know how, but I had convinced myself for 3 months not to consume non-veg, and I eat very regularly, and I stopped myself for 3 months. I'm like, let's go, and I'm propagating veganism to everyone who I was meeting at that particular time. Office में मिल रहे. So I had this other senior manager. He was a Gujju, so again vegetarian. He used to join me. Like, अरे must documentary. Like that's a very good thing. We should not eat. I'm telling everyone around me, like, guys, stop. And that point, I used to get these pulses for my tiffin. Okay, lunch में. And one day I sat with all these senior management because I was late to sit with my group. Something happened and we sat together. And they got shocked, like you know, they have this kind of a pot lunch kind of a thing. You share whatever you get. That's the thing. And they got shocked, like, to pulses kha raha hai sir. Matlab, I'm propagating again veganism. I'm like, guys, so this particular, I saw this documentary, very good. So everything enhanced and all that. They're like, yeah, we should try.
Netflix should thank me. Veganism, okay. This is the thing about veganism that, see, I haven't tried veganism, so I can't comment on the fact that if it is beneficial to human body or not. But the people who propagate veganism are quite annoying, to be honest. That they will shove it down your throat कि नहीं, तू जो 30 साल से पूरा जिंदगी भर खाया ना, वो तो सिर्फ फालतू चीज खाया है. तू ये खा देख, 3 महीने में चेंज आ जाएगा. And that is where it gets annoying.
अरे इतना भी extreme extremely करना यार. अरे too much. In fact, right now I'm lucky not to have vegans around me but I sometimes I imagine मैं 3 महीने के लिए क्या बोलता रहूंगा लोगों को, अरे तुम vegan बनो, मैं भी हूँ. Sometimes you need that social sense of acceptance, right? कि अरे vegan हूँ, तुम भी आ जाओ. Together we'll be vegans and we'll propagate this veganism to everyone. Maybe that was the psychological aspect of it, but Chuck, I'm back to
normal.
Can I say normal? I don't know. I guess vegans might get offended after this episode.
No, that is not a problem. So one of my friend's friend, okay, and she was also trying veganism. I mean, she is in US. So obviously वहाँ पे तो वो virtue signaling तो भाई अपने को करना ही रहता है कि veganism, environment friendly, feminism, all supporters of all the rights.
Is your friend Greta Thunberg?
No, this is my friend's friend, not my friend. So I mean, if अगर वो try किया होता तो why would I tell that he's my friend?
Oh no! I asked whether that girl, like all her attributes match Greta Thunberg. So is she Greta Thunberg? Because I can't imagine anything else.
So when my friend told me that that she's trying veganism, the first question that popped in my mind was, why does she hate her life so much? कि उसको veganism कर रहा है. And he was like, I'm sending the screenshot to her, you just wait. I was like, okay, go ahead with it. So yeah, that's quite
that was too extreme, Manan. That was too mean. I didn't expect you were not a sensitive kind of a person. Like, I know you stay in Middle East, but you don't have to act like one, right? Why so extreme, bro?
See, because one of the finest personalities in the history, named Admiral General Aladeen, has once said that, what are civil rights? So the response to that was, it is hilarious, I'll tell you later.
That movie Dictator, yaar, that movie is epic. Arey dude, when you said a great personality, so earlier I thought you would quote Hasbulla. I was waiting like abhi bolega ye, because I know you are a huge fan. So after looking at her stories, I decided I should also look at this guy. And I thought he's a kid. And then I realized that this is an 18-year-old guy who has some deformity.
Yeah. But
his video, that video is so famous, right?
Funny.
Fighting one. That is too funny. Dude, that guy he's a celebrity, man.
Yeah, that's true. There are pages, literally fan pages of Hasbulla with nearly somewhere in the 6-figure followers. Or you go to any platform, Instagram पे कोई भी Hasbulla check कर, minimum 1 lakh followers तो रहेंगे. Twitter पे check कर, minimum 1 lakh. So that guy has gained that popularity. I don't know out of nowhere, but वो जो है वो है.
That video, you remember his video? He's fighting with that other guy.
Yes,
and the other guy goes on saying something. And the other guy actually says a lot. Uska reply is exactly. That video got viral and everyone thought these are two kids fighting, cuties fighting, and then they realized that 18-year-old cuties. That's it.
I mean,
but yeah, man.
I'm seeing that. I mean, I noticed it from the beginning, but I would like to bring this up right now that you're a Barcelona supporter, and I should I say I was a Barcelona supporter, or I am a Barcelona supporter considering the current circumstances of the club.
If you change your club depending on its performance, if you change your club choices depending on the performance, you are the worst form of plastic I've ever seen in my life. Non-recyclable, non-degradable. You are a threat to environment. I'm sorry.
I'm insensitive to the environment as well.
Yeah. So Manan was this guy who used to love Puyol, okay? And after that, I don't know what happened. So this guy was so obsessed. So I remember we had gone to Manali trip, or like Manali only, right?
Yes,
so he had written number 5 on his cap. And then we asked him, bro, why? Yeah, Puyol, bro, Puyol. Okay.
Which kind of looked like Pussy all, but that
Pussy all, yeah, exactly. You were wondering why have you written such offensive words on your cap? Then he explained it to us that this is PUY phi and then the OL. So it's like Puyol, not Pusyol. We're like, we are convinced, bro.
See, but that
those
is
were
where
good times.
that is where वो बोलते हैं ना कि the glimpses of why there is some amount of Middle Eastern dictator in me, वो type वो दिख रहा था, because offense करना was like something that I do regularly, I would say. Or
all the viewers who are watching this or who will watch this, I'm not a part of this conversation. I do not support dictatorship. So I should clarify, right? Like, baad mein. It's not fair, man. It's not fair. Accept, bro. Accept. I'm pretty sure if we start talking about certain things, this your episode is gonna be dank as fuck.
YouTube will take it down because of guidelines. क्या रे भाई तुम क्या बातें कर रहे हो? My God.
क्या बातें कर रहे हो यार? 21st century 2022 है. शर्म करो. But yeah, coming back to Barca, man, don't make me cry. It's okay. So,
but club has been like
the match. You remember the comeback Liverpool made?
From 3-0 to 3.
So that night I cried. Okay, I cried that night. I was like, this year the pakka Messi utha raha hai. And I thought like the way he was playing that season, and he was carrying the team. If you see right now, the team is in shambles because no one's there to do the carry job. And again, I'll be very biased. I might sound biased. Like people used to be like, Messi ko Ballon d'Or kyun diya and all that. But like you see the difference, right? He's not only the goal scorer, he's a playmaker. He gives you assists. He controls the game, changes the team. Now you see Barca without him. You see Barca with him. The huge difference is that Messi was there. He's not there right now. And even though they have excellent quality players, it's there in the transformation phase. I'll be very honest. Barca will come back maybe 2 years or a year down the line. Let's hope for the best.
Hope for the best, yeah. But the decline of Barcelona as a club has been so gradual that nobody noticed it until Messi left. Okay. The team hasn't won the Champions League since 2015, but nobody noticed it कि अच्छा हम लोग पिछले 6 साल से जीते नहीं हैं. But the moment Messi left, people lost their minds. Oh no, there is some serious issues at the club, and because of those issues, I mean, let alone the payment. Okay, let's not get into the salaries all part because we don't know exactly. But as a fan as well, the politics had gotten so much into the administration that people had to start.
True.
And it's not even like United, because if you see United, okay, back in 2013 when Sir Alex Ferguson had his last season as a manager, it wasn't a gradual decline. Manchester United had won in 2011 and 12 as well, but then after Sir Alex left, that the drop was visible. The job is like quite a heavy shoes to fill, and it is going to take a while. But with Barcelona, it was so slow. कि when Messi left, when people realized कि ना भाई serious बात हो रही है कुछ तो club में क्या
So that's why I admire that player a lot, So see, there are two aspects. One, the club failed because you are not supposed to be dependent on a single player to such an extent that his or her absence is actually leading to your decline in performance. But moreover, if you see since 2017, I remember since Valverde had joined as a coach, that time we used to be like, "Arey bro, we are out of UCL now." That to quarters or semis. We had a hope of winning UCL, right? And we used to be like, and we sacked Valverde because he was not performing in the tighter games, the must wins of any tournament, bigger games, or the biggest game, I would say. Once, and the way he was losing was, or we lost was that we were taking a lead in first leg, second leg we used to give it away, and that happened consecutively 2 years in a row, and that too one against AS Roma, which was a mediocre team at that moment. And another one was like again, Liverpool was top class, but still we outplayed them in first leg. So that wasn't a clear distinction as such. It was a great game. We could have won, but then we sacked him, and then other coaches that came after him we realized that even winning the league is a tough task right now. If you see right now, Barca is not even in top 4. When was this last time? Do you remember? Like, you have been watching since what, 5th, 6th standard, maybe
8 or 9, yeah.
8, 9. That was like epic, golden. I would say diamond age,
Barca.
peak Barca.
Correct.
Peak Barca, like they revolutionized football. They got in tiki taka everywhere. So that was the thing, like we saw then, and you see the club right now. We can't win anything. We are celebrating 1-0 victories right now. Like that is a difference. And earlier we used to be so sad. Like, अरे एक ही गोल मारा यार. You have Suarez, you have Messi, एक ही गोल मारा. So this is a stark difference, and you rightly mentioned it's not about the salary aspect. I would say their management actually destroyed the club, and moreover, it was the worst part was the way they let go of certain players,
big players, right?
The good players, big names, which actually made your club, made the game watchable, made the matches watchable. You let them go, and the kind of players they got in for such an inflated price, the returns we got from them, Lord Dembele,
nothing.
Respect.
It's quite clear that when he was at Dortmund, he was performing so well. That is the reason Barcelona, bought him. And the moment he joined Barcelona, it was like Puyol at the age of 34 or 35. इंजरी होने के बाद 6 महीना बैठने का, 6 महीने बाद आने का, और फिर वापस एक इंजरी लेके 6 महीने के लिए बैठ जाने का.
There was a joke. Whenever this guy used to get injured, he used to get injured in one coach का era. Era भी नहीं बोल सकते. Legit, Barca has changed months में coaches. And whenever he used to come back, the coach used to get changed. And earlier I thought this is a joke, meme hoga, but then I realized this is actually true.
It is actually
and
true.
Even with Koeman, same thing happened. This guy got injured under Koeman. By the time he came back, Koeman was out, Xavi came in. And right now, I'm not sure how true is this. So apparently, this guy is asking for wage hikes. Dembele is like, I won't renew contract if you don't give me wage hikes. Dembele is like, I won't renew contract if you don't give me wage hikes. And now Xavi or the management, other people have told him very strictly that तो करना है तू ये पैसे में आ, वरना you are free to leave the club. Which is much needed right now. We don't have money also to give to a player like Dembele. Come on.
That hasn't performed or even contributed to even great wins.
अरे bro, first leg था ना लिवरपूल वाला. So Messi पूरा मस्त 100 लोग को कटा के गया था वहां पे, and he passed it literally. So 2 people were standing. Gerrard,
yes, I remember.
He could have scored. You remember, right? So नहीं हवे में नहीं मारा, and he gave it to Dembele, thinking अरे PK maybe was offside. Dembele let it pass the ball into Alisson's hand. Alisson ऐसे Alisson भी हुआ रे, finally कुछ तो save किया.
Oh gee.
That is the kind of Ousmane Dembele we have seen, and you were so correct. At Dortmund, he was a beast. Maybe, and he has a potential to be someone like Mbappe, even exceed Mbappe maybe. But I don't know what's wrong with him.
Terrible. Even
बच्चे लोग यार हमको फुटबॉलर बना देते हैं, हम तो रोज फुटबॉल ही खेलते हैं.
इंजरी है, पैर टूटा है, नहीं तो भी मैं गोलकीपर खेलूं.
पैर टूटा नहीं, मैं आऊंगा. हाँ, मैं कीपर.
Oh my God. I mean,
पता है.
as Barcelona fans, there was some amount of awareness as well कि one day Messi will leave the club, and that is the day when it is going to be a tough years for Barca in the future after he leaves. Like 2 to 3 साल वो recovery में लगेंगे, or maybe even more. But Messi अगर निकला भी prematurely, the farewell that he got wasn't like, obviously वो टाइम में कोविड भी था इसलिए ज्यादा लोग आ नहीं पाए, but वो farewell भी, it was like more of a formality कि Messi जा रहा है, and it was quite overwhelming to see that Messi cry that I wanted to stay at the club, but जो club का जो management था, and it was unbearable for me, and so I'm leaving this club.
Basically, they had this issue, right? So, if I'm not wrong, La Liga had a limit on wages, and they had to, to sign Messi and Depay at the same time. Something like that happened, and moreover, the way he left, that is the point. Messi, the person who's carrying your club since last 4-5 years, especially since Xavi and Iniesta retired or left the club, rather, not retired. But that was the point when we realized that this club is no more. the same club which we grew up watching.
Right.
And I have a hope, that Xavi will get things back in order. Maybe Messi will come back, maybe on a loan or something like that.
My God.
He should come back,
Bro. I'm not lying. ये one of the previous episodes, right? I don't remember कौन से episode में, but एक तो मैं पहले के episode में ये बात बोला था कि I have a gut feeling, ठीक है? मेरे को ऐसा gut feeling जब से मेसी निकला तब से आ रहा है कि ये बस खाली मैनेजमेंट का इश्यू रिजॉल्व होगा, तब तक पीएसजी में खेलेगा. जैसे ही रिजॉल्व हो गया, वो चाहे तो फ्री में खेले या कम सैलरी में खेले, बट ही इज कमिंग टू बार्सिलोना. ये मैं बोला था. आई विल सेंड यू द क्लिप आल्सो ऑफ दैट एपिसोड. मैं किसके साथ बोला था, जस्ट
ब्रो. The silver lining aspect of it will be like he lived his last UCL with Barca, last Ballon d'Or with Barca. That will be the best thing ever.
Best thing,
because he has given, like, rather than club giving back to him, I would say that he has given so much to the club. And if you see all the memories, all the goals, not only the goals, the kind of influence he has got, so good, man. We are taming La Liga, and now other clubs like Betis and all. It's a difficult task to beat these clubs right now. Betis नाम पता नहीं था पहले. Betis क्या है अभी? Betis को हराया हमने. Betis like now Real Madrid for us. And I guess it has been a couple of years right now. We haven't won the Clásico also. So we'll take time. We'll come back.
Yeah, I
Let's
do remember.
Let's hope for the best. We come back soon.
I do remember. So one of our previous guests, a guy named Deep Nagda. So he had come and he's a big time Madrid fan. And wo episode mein I have said the same thing. Okay, I guess I'll probably edit this entire thing and add that clip as well from that episode. Ke dekho maine bola tha.
Oh, nice. Then I would like to change my stance. I was like, अरे मैंने वो episode देखा, मैं मनन को अच्छा प्रूव करना चाहता हूँ, इसलिए मैंने वो चीज बोली.
Oh my God, man. निहार, ये ठीक है, जब बार्सिलोना की बात हो गई, we talk about talent and stuff, but there are a few talents that is the news that I was curious about. I did not pay attention in the initial stages, but now I have after reading a few things, I've come to realize that कि भाई तू poem भी लिखता है, and poem सिर्फ बस खाली एक नहीं लिखी है, काफी सारी poems लिखी भी है, and you literally have an entire WordPress क्या बोलते हैं, website, if I'm not wrong.
Blog. Yeah, you can call it a website. So blog, website, whatever.
That you have done. And how did you come to realize that I can write poems, and how did you improve the skill as well?
I guess it was in 7th, 8th standard. So to be very honest, I had we had this Tagore ka poem which we were taught in school, and we at the same time we had this I guess the same one, and we had this school magazine then, and we were supposed to give some write up, and I made a very fuzzy first class copy of that poem in my own words, which was so evident that I remember one of our teachers found, I know where you have written this from. And I was like, no, this is completely original. And I didn't know then. I didn't know that indirectly I've been so inspired that it wasn't plagiarism. Copy nahi kiya tha, but it was like
I'm saying
highly inspired from that thing.
Okay. पता नहीं होगा हमें वो टाइम पे कि अच्छा इसको.
The difference is अभी word पता है, we successfully avoid it. We have learned the concept of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So we save ourselves from plagiarism and all that. But that's the point. So that was my first poem. I remember कैसा paper पे लिख के गया था दिखाने, I have written this. But that was it. Then maybe I might have written some. Then I stopped. Then I started writing again in my 11th, 12th. Again I stopped. So I was never a kind of a typical writer who writes very continuously, and I used to have writer blocks more than the writing phases. And a writer's block is like the bad part for a writer, they say, and I had those bad parts almost every day. So I couldn't write anything very frequently as such. So then in my UG I decided that the Instagram thing is happening, let's start my Instagram thing. Then I did that. Then I realized I did that till 2019ish, maybe end of my 4th year, and also beginning of my job wala part time. I realized that people actually go for the aesthetics of an Instagram page rather than the the write-ups. So nobody reads. They want to see the picture, they like the picture, then they like it or they comment and they leave. So I was like, this is farzi, nahi karna. I wanted my poems to be well read by people, right? Or I don't want the reach. I don't want the publicity. I just want, if you're reading, if you're coming to my page, you read. Just don't come and look at the picture, like and go just for the sake of it, because Instagram is too fast. You have to scroll and all. It's not a platform for big content like bigger poems or stories or anything like that. People use graphical and virtual stuff. They make pretty good stories on Instagram also, but I was not good at it and I didn't want to do that, so I left. So I decided WordPress best, and I had tried my hand there. I had this page which I had made long time back. So I decided that I'll write continuously, and continuously as well, I'll write at least one poetry per week, which honestly I have not been able to do that. मैं नहीं लिख पाता frequently, but whenever I do, I try to write and post, and then I should write about random stuff. And WordPress is a platform which luckily people read, and not people like you and I who are like part-time readers, part-time writers. So WordPress has itself built a community there, wherein if you post something your blog with the certain tags, basically SEO, वो करके वो तेरे को जिसको चाहिए वो फील्ड में पहुंचा देगा, the readers who are interested in those tags. Exactly. So this happened. Then I used to post continuously also to a certain point. थोड़ा बड़ा organically grown blog, nothing, no advertisement, nothing. Wow. And I'm proud of it, even though I have only 50 people follow, bro, but I'm very happy that these 50 people I have not even shared once. I've never. So Instagram I used to do very active PR. I used to try to post on my story. I used to put my WhatsApp status. I used to force my friends to share, like, I guess you can relate. Yeah, the regular stuff, And that point, I was like, let's stay away from it. Let's just write. That's why I don't even put my name on the blog. It's like it's an anonymous thing, and the name is like Alchemy of Thoughts. I write there. It's my go-to space. You can call it my go-to space. You can call it anything. It can be your go-to space also. If you want to read, you might connect. That's the best part about poetry, right? मैं लिखूंगा World War पे, मान ले. You might think that poetry is about love. It's your interpretation. It doesn't matter. Artist subjective. कुछ भी हो सकता है. Subjective artist. Artist subjective. Artist भी है. Name से subjective है. हम जो लिखना है लिख देते हैं. So that's the point. So nothing as such, but yeah, that's a go-to space. If you want to read, you can read time pass में. को अच्छा लगा तो बता देना.
Sure thing. But another thing, एक चीज मैंने देखी है, ठीक है, कि ये जो नाम चूज किया है, alchemy of thoughts. Okay, I know the meaning of alchemy. Okay, but अभी कोई regular बंदा है जिसको पता नहीं है कि alchemy का मतलब क्या है. So how did you come to this name के alchemy मेरे को ये नाम में चाहिए? और is it the ICSE influence जो मेरे पे और तेरे पे है? कि because even मेरा podcast कराना ठीक है, तेरा भी WordPress का नाम is like quite complicated. Not complicated, but the term alchemy is not a regular term that people use. तो ये ICSE influence बोल सकते हैं या ये क्या है?
Both, bro. ICSE plus ICT. I wanted I'm a guy from a bit chemistry background. Chem आना चाहिए. ICSE में थे book में. Sorry, 9th में. Then I read this book called The Alchemist. I liked it. It was probably the first book I had read very diligently. And then I was like, okay, alchemist, chemist, alchemy maybe sounds good. And then my thing was like, I'm writing about thoughts, so why not alchemy of thoughts? And then I had this thing, I don't remember if I've still kept it or not. This tagline type of a thing, that golden thoughts are given your soul or something like that. Because I knew that alchemists were known to convert lead to gold, right? So yes. Give a reference. तो लाइक कि नहीं भाई लोगों को लगा बेच रहा हूँ, छोड़ दो, बंद कर, निकाल दो ये.
This is क्या बोलते हैं वो, ओ टेल टेल बोलते हैं नहीं, दिस इज अ टेल कि यू नो कि अगर कोई भी चीज है, ठीक है, सिंपल से सिंपल चीज भी, बट अगर वो कैप काफी भारी यूज किया है ना, तो दैट इज अ टेल के आईसीएसई वाला है.
See, deep down, everyone has a Shashi Tharoor. Okay, deep down. Everyone wants to be one. Everyone has a bit of him, and that's where the game changes. And
Game
honestly
changes.
speaking, मतलब हाँ वो I like you're saying this, that's why मेरे को भी लग रहा है कि यार it's complicated, but यार जिनको नहीं समझता मत आओ पढ़ने.
बताओ पढ़ने, वही ना, वही बोलते
Oh
हैं,
shit!
थोड़ी
Why am I talking like Manan right now? Oh my god! Influence, bro, influence. Peer-to-peer learning.
my God, वो तो है. Yeah, right. And so this ये जो see people, what I know is that people turn to such artistic uh, fields because there is some amount of emotional involvement, yeah, emotions behind it, right? Because one of the previous guests who had come was an engineer turned musician, right? So he is dedicating his life to music because there are some emotions involved, and that emotions only got him started. So what was it that apart from the real thing कि अच्छा स्कूल में एक बार लिखा था, क्या इमोशंस थे वो पोएम राइटिंग स्टार्ट करने के पीछे? के वर यू लाइक आई नीड टू हैव सम आर्टिस्टिक एबिलिटी विथ मी अलोंग विथ माय स्टडीज, और वाज इट के नहीं आई हैव टू चैनलाइज माय इमोशंस समवेयर इन अ वे के लोग को रिलेट हो?
See, bro, very honestly, again, so there is you are pretty correct. I won't say that these poetry, whatever poems I've written, they are not realistic in some way or another. Because I have this saying, I feel this is very true, that every fiction is a part of twisted reality. You twist the reality in some way, you make fiction out of it. My funda was to observe things around me, and certain poems are legit. Like suppose if I'm having a conversation with you, you tell me an incident from your life, I get inspired कि यार इसका थोड़ा ऐसा लिख सकते थे, इसका ending ऐसा था तो मजा आता. So I write anything related to that, and it just clicks. That's one of the best aspects of my poem writing, and also the worst aspects of it. I don't plan that I have to sit today and I'll write say 10 words. No, I am someone, मेरे को रात को 2-3 बजे पे ऐसा आता है, अरे this idea is clicking me right now, I'll write, and then I'll refine it maybe the next day, but I write those things and I keep it to myself that this is the raw version, and it's very impromptu as such, you can call it impromptu. But yeah, the emotional aspect of it is, it's not only mine. There are some which are mine. Most of them are ones which I have noticed. So, for example, there is this movie. I have written an article about this movie, Good Will Hunting only. So this movie is about life, the choices you make, something which is relatable to a person in 20s, 22 years of age. He or she can relate that you are in that epoch of life that you have to take a decision. You're very good at something, but that doesn't mean that you have to do that, right? And this is the entire story, basically. It's so simple, but it's so beautiful. And if you haven't watched this movie, do watch it. And I could relate to that movie because I was like, I'm good at research, okay. And at ICT, I had been good at research, I had been good at the technical stuff. But I always had this thing, I don't see myself doing this 10 years down the line, the same thing again and again. So if you're good at something, doesn't mean that you have to do it, right? You can go and do something else. So that thing is inspired from my emotional, you can call it my emotional outlay, or my emotional words written down as a part of a blog. But the point is that there are other blogs and other poems as well, which I have seen from someone else. I have seen someone else struggling in her or his relationship. I have written about that. And that's a funny aspect. Okay, after every post, earlier I had this thing, I used to post links on my WhatsApp status. People used to ask me, bro, tera breakup hua hai kya? Bro, are you okay? And then I realized, okay, guys, don't relate it to me. These are general, random stuff. And the best part is people do relate to it because love is nothing new. Heartbreak is nothing new. Moreover, struggling in a job or struggling in whatever you do is nothing new. So you will relate, you will find something relatable. It's like that song which hits you hard. वो बोलते हैं ना कि यार ये गाना हिट हुआ मेरे को. वो क्यों होता है? मेरे को तो bias है, nothing against the musicians, but and singers, but I have this bias, like मैं writer हूँ तो and the words are so good that they hit you and they remind you of that particular incident. That could be anything, any song. भाग दी के बोस, तो कुछ याद आ गया, याद देखो तो दूसरा गाना हो सकता है, बहती हवा सा था वो. Emotions can change, but hit होगा. So poetry का भी वैसा ही है.
Correct, correct. Again, the Goodwill Hunting. Obviously, I haven't watched the movie, but there is another movie that I personally like, and तूने भी देखा ही होगा. It's called The Dead Poets Society.
Oh,
Right.
awesome.
So there is this quote, and I think I have written it for some reason. Now that ये Dead Poets Society का topic निकला ही है, so there is this obviously famous quote there that the lead actor says. Now I can't recall the name of the actor, but he says that medicine, law, business, and engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, and love, these are what we stay alive for.
I guess वो Ethan बोलता है ये, Ethan Hunt क्या, I forgot the name of that actor. If you see, he has come in other movies also later on, बड़ा हो गया.
Goodwill Hunting वाला जो main actor है ना, I forgot जो इसमें भी था.
अच्छा, Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robbie Williams. Yeah. वो वही बोलता है when he gathers the students around him and he says the secret to life is this. These things are noble pursuits, but these are the things that we live for. That is an amazing movie. I mean, great.
Yeah, and I told you about this thing, right? There are certain words which hit you, and this thing has hit you at some moment, and it reminds you of certain instances because of which you went ahead and went down to write it in your diary or some place wherein you can recollect again and again. So this is the magic of words, and anything like that. It could be an article also. It could be a poem. Could be a song, as I said. Art is art.
Art is art at the end of the day. Even with podcasting, I mean,
true.
As you might see that, it's not art in the truest form, I would say, podcasting, but it is somewhat art to me because, see, you realize the difference now. Even before we record the episode, like in the previous one in January, we had just one talk, which was nowhere closely related to what we talked today, right? And yet, when you see that the recording is on, or while we are originally recording the episode, the intimacy of the conversation is much more. Okay, वहाँ पे वो surface idea लेना था कि अच्छा निहार आजकल क्या कर रहा है, but today is the day when we execute it completely कि अच्छा ये episode ऐसा लगे कि लोग सुने तो they always have a take back कि अच्छा these are the things that I got to learn from this podcast. Maybe one line, maybe two lines, or maybe a particular segment, but कुछ तो लेके जाए.
Yeah. Moreover, I feel that your kind of podcasts are different from other podcasts in this way. मतलब, pardon my French. Like normally podcast में ज्ञान चोदने आते हैं. तेरे podcast में there is a sense of the casualness wherein you can talk your heart out, and that's good, right? That's a better aspect of the podcast, which I honestly feel, like at least from my personal perspective, because these other podcasts, मतलब ज्ञान लेना है तो अदर सोर्स से लो, मैं तो बोलता हूँ ज्ञान तो हर जगह से मिल जाएगा, आप खुले रखो ज्ञान मिल जाएगा. बट द थिंग इज कि the best aspect of our podcast is you get the best out of the other person who's speaking with you, and that's a free flowing conversation. Like we aren't a scripted conversation, right? We haven't decided. We'll decide. Like maybe you have a rough skeleton, but I'm pretty sure while talking you might go haywire, you might go somewhere else, talk about certain other instances, and come back.
Right.
That's it. Like, but how did you start it? Why did you start a podcast as such? And again, I'll do a Uno reverse over here, and I'll ask you why this name. It's so complicated.
Okay, so first we'll go with the name. Okay, so even before we started podcast, I took like 2 to 3 months to find an accurate word which is going to suit the theme of the podcast. Now, the word illimitable means something that cannot be measured, limitless, boundless. Okay. So if you look at other podcasts where, I mean, I wouldn't compare also with other podcasts. क्या होता है कि obviously there are a lot of people who are podcasting. उनका theme ये होता है कि it's like an interview. Okay, like मैं तुझे ये सवाल पूछूंगा, तू 5 मिनट इस पे बोलना, ये सवाल पूछूंगा तो 15 मिनट इस पे बोलना, and then we can shut down
Correct.
and we can complete the episode. But that is not the case over here, because अगर तू उतने में ही रहा ना, तो there is no intuitive learning from that thing, because everything is planned and
Correct.
you are just executing the plan. So वो हमें बाउंड्री तोड़ने थे, राइट? और वो बाउंड्री के हम कैसे तोड़ रहे? बाय बीइंग इलिमिटेबल. That was for the name.
Nice.
So the word illimitable took me nearly 2 to 3 months to find that word कि नहीं exactly मुझे चाहिए कि मुझे कभी भी उसे बदलना ना पड़े. And when it comes to
Correct.
why starting the podcast, क्या हो गया कि it was in the lockdown, and that जब ये lockdown जब start हुआ था March 2020 में, obviously कुछ करने को था नहीं फिर. तो एक दिन वो YouTube खोला and था कि अच्छा I came across this podcast, Joe Rogan Experience. ओके, एंड तभी तो सुना ये वो कि हमें अच्छा लगा, मुझे काफी अच्छा लगा, तो मैंने काफी सारे वो बिंज वॉच जैसे एपिसोड्स कर लिए. नाउ द प्रेडिकेमेंट वाज कि लॉकडाउन था. ओके, एंड ये मेरे को ना लॉ कॉलेज के साथ से ही था कि आई हैव दिस थिंग ऑफ ऑब्सेशन विद माइक, वी वुड से कि दैट एफिनिटी टुवर्ड्स द माइक. ऑब्सेशन तो अनहेल्दी में बोलूंगा. आई हैव एन एफिनिटी कि मुझे माइक दो एंड आई कैन डू वेरी वेल. ओके, सो कॉलेज में मैंने वो फेस्टिवल्स में जो कॉलेज फेस्टिवल्स में होस्टिंग किया, ये वो किया, तो वो तो सब हो गया, ठीक है. थर्ड ईयर में भी चांस था, बट अभी लॉकडाउन हो गया तो कॉलेज तो जा नहीं सकते फिजिकली. ओके, सो तभी मुझे आइडिया कि कुछ ऐसा करते हैं कि वो माइक का एफिनिटी रहे अपने साथ, ठीक है. एंड लास्ट ईयर था तो ऑब्वियसली आई न्यू दैट आई वाज गोइंग टू ग्रेजुएट इन 1 ईयर. बाद में कुछ करना है ऐसा कि खुद के लिए कि नहीं ये कुछ है करके. एंड जब भी हो गया एंड तो आफ्टर माय एग्जाम्स गॉट ओवर, वो जुलाई 2021 में भी रिकॉर्डेड द फर्स्ट एपिसोड. तब से लेके वी हैव बीन रिकॉर्डिंग. एंड टू जस्ट ऐड टू अनदर थिंग कि मैंने पहले ना मेरे कॉलेज के फर्स्ट ईयर में ओपन माइक्स भी ट्राई किए थे टू सी इफ आई एम फनी और नॉट. बट दैट ऑल्सो मेरे को पता चल गया कि मैं ऐसा फनी नहीं हूँ जो लोग रिलेट कर पाए.
Pretty sure people found you offensive. Okay, people are like क्या बंदा बोल रहा है. I'm totally offended. This is not funny. Manan, wake up.
Yeah, that can be a reason. तो वो चीज भी मैंने जानी कि नहीं भाई मैं फनी तो नहीं हूँ जैसा लोगों को चाहिए, तो वो जाने दिया. एमसीइंग जो था बाद में मैं उस पे आया, तो उस पे लगा कि हाँ ये थोड़ा सेमी फॉर्मल है जहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा सिली बन सकता हूँ लोगों को हंसाने के लिए, और फॉर्मल जब भी गेस्ट को बुलाना रहता है तो वो भी कर सकता हूँ. सो ये सब चीजें मेरे माइंड में थी एंड वो चीज पे मेरे को कंटिन्यू भी करना था. एंड एज अ लॉयर जो मेरा जो स्किल है टू आस्क द क्वेश्चन वेर इट हिट्स द राइट स्पॉट, वो मेरा तो इवन बिफोर आई स्टार्टेड लॉ वो था मेरा. आई मीन दिस इज नॉट आई एम ब्रैगिंग अबाउट दिस स्किल, बट वो था, बट खाली यूटिलाइज नहीं हुआ था. तो जब ये लॉ में आया तभी वो थोड़ा और यूटिलाइज होने लगा एंड दैट इज व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड कि देख ये सब चीज को आई हैव कंसीडर्ड. नाउ लेट्स
Oh bro, first of all, if you are good at something, brag about it. Why do you want to undersell yourself? मतलब अच्छी बातें तो बताओ. ये हमको बचपन में ऐसा सोचते अरे भाई हम्बल बनो, ये ना क्या कुछ भी. अबे हार्वी स्पेक्टर हम्बल होता तो पैसा कमाता
है नहीं, वो तो है. बट माय थिंग इज कि वो जो था वो जो था कि आई आस्क्ड द क्वेश्चंस दैट हिट द राइट स्पॉट, वो रियलाइज होने में काफी टाइम लगा. एंड बाद में एक बार रियलाइज हो गया तो मेरे को बस खाली वो करना था कि नहीं अभी मुझे ये करना है, तो वो पॉडकास्टिंग चालू कर दिया. एंड दिस हैज बीन द जर्नी कि पॉडकास्ट कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ. एवरी वीकेंड हम लोगों ने रिकॉर्ड किया एक्सेप्ट द मंथ ऑफ जनवरी. एंड दिस इज वेयर वी आर टुडे. टुडे वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग द 25th एपिसोड. एंड कोइंसिडेंस अगेन तेरा बर्थडे है व्हिच इज आल्सो ऑन 25th.
I was gonna say that.
एपिसोड भी 25 हो गया. ये ऑब्वियसली प्लान नहीं था बिकॉज यू रिमेम्बर मैंने तेरे को जनवरी के लिए पहले पूछा था कि जनवरी में पहले करेंगे, बट वो हम लोग ने क्रैप कर आई मीन कैन कर दिया. बट देन ये फरवरी
This is called serendipity.
एग्जैक्टली
serendipity. अब जिनको मीनिंग नहीं पता है मैं कुछ नहीं
ढूंढ लो अभी.
Don't know. Sorry, we are two kids. We are two privileged kids from ICSE background. We like to brag our English skills.
So ये start किया and yes, we have been continuing it and we do intend to continue it. and even if you have seen the guest, they are not ordinary guests, right? They always had, ठीक है, मैं अगर मुझे करना रहता तो मैं सिर्फ उनके काम के बारे में पूछता कि भाई तू इंजीनियरिंग कहाँ से किया, एमबीए कहाँ से किया, तेरा चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी का ये जर्नी बता, बात खत्म कर और निकल जा.
अरे I remember there is this guy who is like a Finn god. CFA L1 L2 है I guess plus CA भी था.
yes.
I had seen. I was like मैं थोड़ा लाइफ में अचीव करूंगा फिर मैं इसका पॉडकास्ट देखूंगा, मेरे को इसको देखना है भाई. But this guy is like dude, CA plus CFA plus क्या मतलब बोला.
Too good.
This is too good man.
ऐसे सब लोगों को लाना है जो क्या बोलता है, वो बोलते हैं ना, जो see obviously we don't belong to popular families, right? ऐसा नहीं कि हम जैसे ही घर के बाहर निकले तो 10 लोग को हमें जानते हैं. So we are a kind of paparazzi वाले नहीं है तो, but लोगों का टैलेंट है इतना, right? तो वैसे लोगों को लाना है, एक बनाना है कि अच्छा these are the kind of people that are
that's nice.
not ordinary people, but they don't have also that popularity कि मैं ऐसा हूँ करके, whatever the thing is. I mean, popularity is not the only aspect that I'm talking, but that's just at the top of the mind right now.
That's true. Like after say 5-6 years down the line, when your podcast becomes so famous, we can say right as we were there on his podcast.
We were there on the podcast. ऐसा तो यार बहुत मजा आता है ये करने में. एक भी एटलीस्ट मैं बोलूँ ना, I mean इतना भी कोई बिजी नहीं है कि 1 या 2 घंटा कोई स्किल के लिए दे सके. पूरे वीक में 7 days में if you don't have 2 hours to commit to something that you love, तो फिर भाई क्या कहा कौन से.
And bro, almost every book, every writer, everything, every person who wants to give us gyan, they tell us the same thing, right? And if you are reading or learning these things continuously, and if you're not implementing in your life, it makes no sense. So if you are reading that, I should spend 2 hours for myself. You should spend 2 hours or more, but not less. That's the key, and that's what actually made your podcast implementable as well. Because if you would have been like, "नहीं मैं बाद में करता हूँ," procrastination होता है. You would have said that I'm too busy right now. Maybe आज हो ही नहीं पाता. So that's pretty nice. Like you have diligently done it. Your bro also like उसने काफी अच्छे designing किया है. Pretty chill and pretty nice.
Right. And again, that I was coming to that only. Obviously now I'm the face of the podcast because I'm the host. So मैंने मेरे बारे में तो बात कर ली. But my brother has also been equally dedicated to for his part of the duty as well. उसका काम है video editing करना और ये सब. So every weekend भाई, मतलब रिकॉर्ड करने के बाद संडे इवनिंग तक तो टाइम जाता ही है एडिट करने में कि नहीं भाई एडिट कर ढंग से, बाद में करना. तो क्रेडिट टू हिम आल्सो फॉर हिज कंट्रीब्यूशन. And yes, we are doing it fine. So मजा भी आ रहा है.
Kudos to bros, Pandya bros. The good Pandya bros we know. The other Pandya bros I don't want to talk about. Although I am an MI fan, but still I don't want to talk about them.
Right. So with that, Nihar, it was a pleasure having you today.